Hello and welcome to DCC Model Railway Signalling, and welcome to release 4.2.0 of the application. Now this release has got a number of features in that I'm hoping you're going to find useful for developing your own layout signalling schemes. So the first feature, which is probably what you're going to find the most useful, is intermediate track sensors, which are these objects on the schematic. So here you can see we've got 4 of them. And there's a new button over here on the left hand side for adding these objects to the schematic. So if we just open one of those up to show you the configuration, so we'll just double click on that, and you can see the configuration is all about track occupancy changes, and the configuration is broadly similar to how you configure the track occupancy changes for signals. The only real difference is that you can have multiple routes behind the track sensor as well as ahead of the track sensor. So for example here, if you look behind the track sensor, which is to the left of the object, you've got a possible 5 routes, so 5 track sections, which are here, and these are the point settings that describe the route to that particular track section. Ahead of the track sensor, so to the right of the track sensor, you've only got one section, which is section 6, and there's no points in the way, so that's just a straightforward configuration. You can also map these track sensors to GPIO sensor events. So in this particular instance, we've mapped it to the GPIO sensor 11. So when that is being triggered by your track sensor out on your layout, that will generate a track sensor passed event, which will then update the track occupancy on the mimic diagram on the schematic. So if we just cancel out of that and put it into run mode, and we'll give you a brief demonstration of how that works. So Control M into run mode, and you can see here we've already got a few trains on the layout. So if I change that point here and click on that track sensor, it knows, because that is occupied and that is clear, that the train must be going from one to the other. Similarly, if I click that again, that will pass the train back. Click it again to pass it, and now we'll just send that into another siding by clicking it there. Now, just for a bit of fun, what we'll do is we'll send that train around the loop. So if I click that to send it to there, click that to send it to there, click that to send it into the siding. Now if I change that point there and click that, that has sent it to there. So you can see how this could be really useful for your sort of sidings and motive power depots, because you can maintain still maintain a view on what trains are where, even if those areas aren't sort of signalled, because they're sidings or motive power depots. So that's the first feature. The second feature that I want to talk about is to do with the GPIO sensors. And it's just an improvement to the settings window. So if I just open it, settings GPIO, in previous releases you just had the mappings from the GPIO port to the GPIO sensors, and the GPIO sensors were what you used in your signal configuration. Now this window will also show the mappings to those signals and track sensors. So that's sort of quite useful when you're building your configuration, in that you can see what ports are mapped to what sensors, which are mapped to what schematic objects, in one place, in one window, without having to click through each object in turn. So if I just close that down. And the third new feature is a DCC mappings utility. So if I open that up, And what this does, this gives you a complete list of all the DCC addresses that have been used within your layout configuration, and where they are used. So for example here, 101 is used by signal 1. If we look further down the list, you can see that signal 5 uses 2 DCC addresses. And I did this really because I had problems configuring my layout. I'd inadvertently duplicated DCC addresses, and it took me a while clicking through each sort of signal in turn to sort of find out where the issue is. But this will give you a full list of what is mapped to what. So you can see I've only got 1 point mapping, so let's put that back into edit mode, and let's just configure point 2. So if I click on that, and this is another sort of feature that's been enabled here, we've got improved validation of DCC addresses. So if I inadvertently put in an address that is already configured to be something else, we'll now get a error. So 501. DCC address 501 is already mapped to signal 5, so we can see we've made a mistake. Similarly, if I try and put 1000 in, now if you hover over it, it will go red and it will show the DCC address is already mapped to point 10. 1001. So if I put 1001 in, that should now be valid, so I can apply that. And that's basically it for the new features. There is one more tweak that I've made, and that is to the signal pass logic. So in the past, when a train passed a signal at danger, it wouldn't actually get passed from the track section behind the signal to the track section ahead of the signal. Now it does, but you will get an appropriate warning. So for example here, I've put it back into run mode. We've got an HST here. If I click on that signal to simulate a signal passed event, you will see that it has passed the train through to the next section, but you've got a warning here. Warning, signal 4 has been passed at danger by that HST. And if you want warnings that are sort of more in your face, we can do that. So if you go to settings and general, you can see on this particular window, you can enable signal passed at danger pop-up warnings. So if I click that box and press OK, let's just clear that down and set that up again. So we'll set up exactly the same situation that we've just seen. And now if I click on that, not only do you get a warning over here, but you get a pop-up warning telling you what the problem is. Signal 4 has been passed at danger by that HST. So it's up to you whether you enable or disable those warnings. You know, it might be a sort of fun thing to do if you're operating your layout with various other people, or if they're just annoying, you can switch them off. But that's basically it. That really concludes our whistle-stop tour of release 4.2.0. I hope you'll find the features useful, and thank you for watching.